Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Greg Buckley here for a little small edition of Shop Soup. That's what we're going to call this one. I'm going to put it up on the Shop Soup platform. Hopefully, you'll be seeing it soon up on the web and on the Apple Podcasts, so forth and so on. Anyway, as you know, we're continuing the little bit of journaling that I've been doing here lately over parents, the health, the drama, the trauma, the emotion, everything that goes through with it. So, over the past couple of weeks, it's been up and down, kind of crazy. Between schedules between my sister and I, and everybody around us in the businesses, both north and south. It's been kind of trying. And of course, there are times and gaps where one or both of us won't be around to take care of either one of the parents. Dad and mom are in separate locations, mom being up in North Wilmington, and dad had a little bit of a stay right in Wilmington at the Delaware Hospice Center. So, and the reason was because Michelle was out on a well-deserved vacation, and I had things to do in Millsboro and prepare for obligations such as a dinner on Saturday, and of course the polar plunge on Sunday. And we had a lot on our plate. So the best thing that we could do was to have dad, go to the hospice center, and we made arrangements for that. And I will tell you that that is a fantastic, unbelievable facility for folks who are, in need of care. And let me explain that hospice has many levels. Dad is by no means into, you know, the end of life situation. He's got dementia. He can't think and needs oxygen. COPD is his real issue. Is his physical issue. So without care, and not good oxygen count, and being older, he'll tend to develop the, forgetfulness, besides the dementia, and start to come around, and he can't really remember what to do or where's what. So the safest place is in the hands of skilled professionals who are there to take care of him, and that's what we thought was the best thing to do. And honestly, it was. Um, I couldn't have had a better few days with him, being in the room and just sharing stories about his time in business, of course, my times with him in business, uh, family, friends, just funny stories about life in general, um, and of course, hearing the not so reality uh, quirks or stories that you hear, like when he would look out the window, he would see two figures, and they weren't really figures; they were cell antennas up on the rooftop. But to him, they were figures. And he would mention to me while looking out the window that, hey, do you see those two statues? And he called them statues. He goes, that one has a fedora on it. Now, as I said before, the one antenna did have the shape of a penguin. It had, the roundish body and the face, and you could imagine having a hat of some sort. Now he called it a fedora. Now the second one was another statue that kind of from the angles, it looked like it was ready to jump off a ledge, right? It was very close to the edge of the building. Of course, it really wasn't, but from his angle, it looked like it was. And he would always say, one more step and that one is done. That one's fallen off. So he would kind of like want to warn them, hey, don't take that step. So these were little things. And uh, you got to laugh at it. But I'll tell you what, it was good to spend time with him. And we stayed in the beginning in the morning. And he had donuts. He loved loves his donuts. So it was a morning ritual of at least a half a dozen, and it was two Boston cream, two sourdough, and two glazed. And he went through them like crazy. So it was fun picking them up and then having some coffee and donuts with him, and it was really great. Now, on the other hand, our mom, she's not so good. It's kind of odd, but we thought it would be the opposite way around. But as it turns out, our mom suffers from a lot of just medical situations, which are really taking a toll on her body, which in turn is taking a toll on her mental uh, capacities and capabilities, it's very difficult to talk and communicate with our mom because of the hearing disability, the visual disabilities, and the speech disabilities. As I said before, she had uh, lost a portion of her tongue to cancer a few decades ago, I believe now 15 to 20 years. And so, her speech had always been different. It was the you had to really key in on her to listen, but it was good. It was quick, and you before you know it, you can understand her with no problem. The hearing slowly went away, and she kind of refuses to wear hearing aids. Gives you every excuse not to wear them, which makes it difficult because you just can't plug them in her ears. And her eyesight, of course, has just been deteriorating for a while now, and it's been so. In general, she's really hard to communicate with. I mean, it's unbelievable how what effort you have to do to get her to respond to you and for you to understand when she responds. Now, and that's for family members. It just imagine how that's compounded with uh, with staff members, right? Yeah, so you can imagine. So we don't get angry when things don't seem to go well uh, between the staff and her. We're always there trying to help communicate. We're trying to get her to understand a few things about helping and assisting. But the last week was as good as it could be with dad, and this week is not as good as it could be with mom. And the problem that I had was, or that I go through, is anger. Anger. You get angry uh, because you can't. One, you can't help them, and two, what's even worse is you get angry at the fact that they can't help themselves. And that's really, really where the crux of my problem has been with, not fully understanding the reasons why. But you see a person and you say, well, why can't you get up out of bed? Why can't you eat your food? Why can't you stand and go to rehab? Um, why don't you want to wear your hearing aids? All of these things. And, it isn't right. But at the same time, I wouldn't call it unnatural. You know, Talking to a few very dear friends of mine, um, trying to assess that emotion. Um, but for 2 days, it really has bothered me, and it was to the point where I literally caught myself kind of hollering at my mom while she's laying there trying to do something. And you talk about feeling like a piece of shit. That's what I felt like. And I had to walk out of the room um, because I just couldn't stand the fact that somebody wasn't able to do a minimum to help themselves. And that's really unfair. But again, I don't think it's unnatural. And a lot of us may go through that and not fully understand the reasons why. And, you have to take a step back because that's when you border yourself on not caring at all. And that's not the point. Um, the problem is that you're not in their you're not in their shoes. You're not in that space that they are, and it's hard to get out of that. Very hard for me. I really had to rely on my dearest friend to kind of talk me through a couple things because I was really angry at myself. So angry at me, angry at her, angry at the situation. And when you're into that point, I don't know how you do it, but I know that for myself, I found myself crawling back over every little thing that went wrong and getting angry at everything, past, future, or whatever, and it was something that, you just have to, um, yeah, you have to talk about it. You got to get it out and talk and talk it through. So, unfortunately for mom, um, her inability to convalesce and rehab is forcing us to find locations where she can continue her care in some manner and find a resolve for why she doesn't want to be helpful in any manner. There, we just don't know. So, um, a little tough week. Yeah, it's only like a Wednesday, so we got a ways to go. But overall, if you can learn to control anger, uh, then you're doing great. And so, like I said, that's one of the lessons. One side you get your dad, you're happy, he's happy go lucky, and he's yeah, he's quirky, because of his situation. One of the funny stories was we were sitting there, we were sitting in the room and just kind of like talking. I think it might have been a Monday morning or Tuesday morning, yesterday morning or whatever. And so he come up and he goes, "Hey, Greg, you know, uh, I was in Europe just a couple weeks ago." And I said, "Really?" So I'm laughing, and well, I'm not laughing. I'm trying to keep a straight face, thinking to myself, I'm laughing, right? And he goes, "Yeah, I was on some kind of detail or something, and I had to meet this like agent or he said he said this lady who was some agent, and I go, Dad, well, how'd you get there? Well, I went through Philly, but Greg, my memory isn't that great. I'm not. I can't really remember, but I can tell you the company paid for it, meaning the shops paid for his trip to Europe. I go, did you go with mom? No, she couldn't make it this time. So it's sad, but funny at the same time, or funny but sad because that it's something that he's not in the real world at that moment. But these are some of the things you go through, and as I'm learning to understand about dementia, is that there can be people who are on the bright side, meaning that you hear stories about being in Europe and being places and doing things and stories coming out from anywhere, and then you have the other side, which is more of an angst or an anger or a agitated state where things just bother the heck out of somebody. Maybe there's experts out there that I'm learning about it, so I'm sure that I'll get more understanding on it. And that's what we believe mom is on this side, the negative side, because of all of the conditions of her body. I mean, from kidneys that aren't healthy, heart that isn't healthy, and just from laying in bed for most of the day, most of her time, all the time. Actually, I can't even see most of the day. It's all day. And then you have dad who's up and around and agile, still can eat, needs oxygen. You know, um, I'm sure it'll slowly all catch up, but there he is right here. So we have these two ways or two dimensions of dementia that we're dealing with, and the personalities change and guiding us all through that. So um, again, it's something that we're learning to live with and accept. And again, that's the biggest thing, is accepting this and then navigating through all of the other day-to-day situations of the businesses, team members needs and wants, and everything it takes to still contain or maintain your business operations, and at the same time have that ability and time to take care of your parents. So that's where we're at. Anyway, um, I appreciate being able to share. Put some comments in, and again, I'm going to have this as a show on Shop Soup. We'll continue it when I get the opportunity. And I just want to say thanks again for all the support, the love, prayers, all that you guys are all extending out to our family, and we'll see where all this goes. Okay, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.